So, we are about to talk about how shifting your perspective can turn any inconvenience, setback, or challenge into an opportunity for growth, joy, and an unexpected blessing. Let's get into it. So, let's talk about something we've all had to deal with, life throwing us curveballs. I know I have some, quite a few. In fact, Lord, I've had enough. You could miss your flight, spill your coffee on your shirt, get laid off, or your plans just fall through. You name it, whatever it is. But what if I told you that every inconvenience is actually a blessing, or at least could be? I'm here to talk about something that I've coined the Rafiki mindset. This came to me after watching Lion King's Mufasa. I don't know if that's the way you would say it, but the new Mufasa Lion King movie, Jordan, Pierre, that one. And after coming home, all I could think about was Rafiki. And I'm like, man, Rafiki was always positive, even in the worst of situations. And what I realized it was even in the worst situations, but especially in the tiny inconveniences. And I do believe that sometimes the devil will use a plethora of inconveniences and things that we don't want to happen or challenging tiny a stack up of challenging tiny situations to throw us just off of our track and make us upset, distract us, whatever it may be. And what I love is that there was nothing that you could throw at Rafiki that Rafiki could not turn into something positive. So if you see Mufasa, the Lion King, or the Lion King, you know that Rafiki isn't just some crazy mandrill. He's a whole spiritual guru. And if you don't know that, I'm telling you now. This guy literally would fall off of Foster's back into the snow. And instead of being upset that he fell, instead of being upset that he's now in the snow and he's cold, he starts making snow angels and he's laughing and he's having a blast. Like he embraces every little inconvenience. And that was why it was so important for me to talk about. So today, I'm asking you this question. Is it a mess or is it an opportunity to clean up? Let's get into it. I would say one thing I absolutely love about Rafiki is that he's not Delulu, right? Like Rafiki does not fight reality. Instead, he asks, or I believe he's asking internally, what's the best I can make of this situation and of this moment? And what I love is that it's not like a pause. It's natural for him. So instead of seeing things as disruptions or distractions, he literally turns them into experiences. And so life, as we know, doesn't always go as planned. But that doesn't mean it's not necessarily working in your favor. Imagine this. You're rushing to work. You miss your train. I used to live in New York, right? You miss your train. And most people are mad, okay? Frustrated, upset, thinking about all the time that they're wasting, thinking about whatever they're missing because they didn't get to work or to where they're going or whatever it may be. And it can really throw off your whole day. I know it did for me sometimes. But Rafiki mindset says, wait, what if this is a chance to slow down? I always say that if you don't give life and your body rest, it'll look for opportunities and take it for you, right? This could be a sign to just take a second and breathe, or an opportunity, I would say, to breathe. Thinking maybe I was moving too fast. Maybe I'll meet someone on the train, someone interesting, someone who can help my future. Maybe I just avoided a stressful situation at work. The point is, your reaction shapes your experience. Our minds are such powerful things. We can train our minds to understand that this bad moment isn't really what matters. But what I want us to understand today is that what truly matters is what you do with the moment. So let's dive into some scenarios here, starting with small inconveniences, the day to day, right? We're training our minds to naturally look at the brighter side or find the bright side. I actually forgot to mention, I have a picture of Rafiki on my wall, and literally it says, find the bright side. And I have a story time I'll tell you later, but it has actively helped in repositioning my mindset ever since I put him on my wall. So let's go into the small inconveniences. Like I mentioned earlier, missing your train. If you miss your train, you can take a step back and say, okay, I'm going to use this moment to breathe. I'm going to reflect. I'm going to catch up on something I've been putting off, whatever it may be, right? Let's say you spilled your tea or coffee. Maybe you're rushing too much. That could be a sign to slow down. That literally happened to me. Or your plans got canceled, which can happen as well. But now you have time to rest, reset, and work on something else. But what about the larger challenges? Like, I know quite a few people who recently or fairly recently was laid off. Maybe this is your chance to pivot into something bigger and better. Maybe your relationship just ended. You know what? This could have cleared some space so that you can actually see and align yourself with somebody who aligns with the goals and the values that you have. Last week in Unfading Beauties, we were talking about heartbreak and about how heartbreak, well, recognizing that heartbreak isn't the end of love. I'll go say that again. I will say that again for the people in the back. Heartbreak is not the end of love, right? It's the end of something, but it can also be the birth of something even better. Failed business idea, which some of us can definitely relate to, myself included, but maybe it wasn't the right fit. And now you have this freedom to focus on something greater. I just want to be clear of the power of perspective, right? We don't always get to control what happens, but we truly always, oh, I'm about to kiss the mic. What was that? We don't always control what happens, but we actually always get to control how we respond to it. And the way we respond, that's what determines if it's a setback or a setup for something greater. So, like I mentioned earlier, there was a time, or there were many times actually, but keeping things light for the sake of this podcast, I would say I recently did experience a time where a mess turned out to be a blessing, right? A moment where I was forced to pivot. And in hindsight, was probably the best thing that could have happened to me in that moment. Now, again, I'm keeping it light. I pause because I feel like I could go into something deeper if I want to go deep yet. Maybe another podcast. But I will say there was a time I think a couple weeks ago. This was right after I watched the movie, right after I put Rafiki on my wall, right? I was in the kitchen grabbing some tea and I had just books and different things I wanted to bring upstairs with me. And in true Amma style and laziness, I'm not a lazy person, but that was a very lazy moment. I was trying to carry everything all up all at once so that I don't have to make two trips up the stairs. I was not in a rush for any good reason. I did not have a meeting coming up. I literally could have taken two trips. I just decided not to. Get into the room, and my first thing is, put the tea down. I put the tea down, but did not realize that there was something under that made the base or the table uneven. And so as soon as I let go of the tea, it spilled everywhere. This was a full, this mug is not nearly as big as the mug. And I'm a tea girl. And so now I have tea everywhere. And it's all over my keyboard. And mind you, earlier that day or the day before, I was like, I need to get a new keyboard because my mouse, it's like a set where you have to buy the two together, and the mouse was starting to act up. The keyboard was also acting kind of funny. And I was like, I've had this keyboard for like 4 years. It has tried. It has tried. Let me get a new one, right? And so when my tea spills, literally spills everywhere, but it doesn't necessarily affect anything except for my keyboard. My keyboard stops working immediately. And I was about to be so angry with myself. I was like, you're like, I started speaking down to myself, and which is something we'll talk about on another episode, is how we speak to ourselves. But I was so ready to be like, Alma, you're so dumb. Like, you're so lazy. Why didn't you just make those two steps? And honestly, in reality, I was being a little lazy. I mean, that wasn't really the most intelligent decision. But I was ready to sit down, and I was becoming overwhelmed with disappointment in myself. Might just something small, but this is what happens, in our internal dialogue, right? And I was so disappointed in myself, and this was about to ruin my whole day. I just felt it. It was going to be over. I was anxious, and I looked up on my wall and I saw Rafiki, and I was like, okay, find the bright side. I was like, you know what? Now I really have to get that new keyboard right now, right? I breathed. I took paper towels, Lysols, disinfect, sprays, whatever, cleaned up my desk. I was like, it's so funny because I was just telling myself, I need to rearrange this desk. So now this mess that I have now created an opportunity to clean up. And that's why the subtitle was, is it a mess or an opportunity to clean up? Right? This mess, and this can apply to life. Sometimes when things are just not going the right way at all, it offers an opportunity for a restart. So I cleared my desk and I wiped it down and I rearranged everything, and my desk looked beautiful now. It don't look like that now. But it did, which is important, right? And so having that opportunity to clean up, I immediately ordered a new keyboard, new mouse, found it on Amazon. It was perfect. It was, funny enough, the color I wanted, because I wanted my keyboard to match better, like better match the aesthetic of my desk and of my work area. And so I was able to find a keyboard that was quiet, that was aesthetically pleasing, that aligned, and that was affordable, and that was going to come that same day. And so I peacefully cleaned up everything, arranged everything, ordered my new keyboard, sat and continued work, and I had a great day. By the end of the day, I even forgot that it happened. Now, the why this is so monumental is that in the past, that would have not happened. I would have probably hung on that for quite a long time. And that probably could have ruined my whole day. So imagine how things more monumental affect me, right? That was a beautiful moment for me because now I am training myself to have a Rafiki mindset so that in the future, when the Lord blesses me with larger opportunities that may lead to larger disappointments in myself, I will be able to find the bright side. And I really hope that you will too. So, if Rafiki can turn falling into snow into joy, what moments in our lives can we reframe into a blessing? The next time something bad happens to you or something disappointing or challenging comes up, I want to personally challenge you to pause and ask yourself, is this a mess or is this an opportunity that I just haven't seen yet? Share a time in the comments when something bad actually turned into a blessing in your life. I genuinely would love to hear about that. Or feel free to DM me. We can post anonymously, whatever it may be. But if this episode did hit, if this episode hit, if it was like, Mom, I want you to share it with a friend who needs a mindset shift, who needs to understand more about the Rafiki mindset. If you haven't already, kissing the mic today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Legacy and Lifestyle on YouTube. That's Legacy N with the letter N, Lifestyle on YouTube. We also are on TikTok at Legacy and Lifestyle. And if you just want to learn more about the other things that I'm personally into, which is probably not really posted, but maybe one day they will be. But you can follow me on Instagram at amalove23. And if you are interested in product marketing management or marketing opportunities for your business, pitching, whatever it may be, tap on that work with me button to get a free consultation to talk about your business needs for tech and innovative business entrepreneurs. All right, that's all for today. I just want to continue to remind you that it is your legacy, so you should live it now, today. Ahora. All right. And I still haven't figured out the music thing. So let's see what happens by the time I post this video. Maybe there'll be music, maybe there won't be. I'm just setting that disclaimer now so that you guys don't call me a liar. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you for watching and stick around for more episodes. Bye.